One of the most frequent side effects of drug use is that it causes you to lose balance and confusion. As we explore here, we come across a lady who appears to be having difficulty standing. Drugs can have a detrimental effect on your cognitive abilities. Some of the long-term consequences of drugs may include permanent damage to blood vessels of the heart and brain, high blood pressure leading to heart attacks, strokes, and death, damage to the liver, kidneys, and lungs, weight loss due to malnutrition, severe tooth decay, depression, and suicide. She appears to be making a phone call, but she is struggling to stay awake in order to do so. She is currently making a phone call. Judging by the tone of her voice, it seems she is asking for help and support from someone close to her. As we can see, although he appears to be having a good time dancing, he is actually dealing with the side effects of drug use. Although it is hard to make a living in these circumstances, socialization and engaging in stimulating conversations eradicates pain and provides a sense of belonging. Interaction and regular conversation throughout the day help to keep insanity away. We couldn't figure out what the discussion was about, but if we had to guess, it seems she may have forgotten something important. Even though life on Kensington Avenue is tough, one must still make time for romance, love, and intimacy. Kensington Avenue is an unusually interesting place because, despite terrible conditions, you will find couples here who are still very faithful to each other. One of the common side effects of drugs, as seen here by this young man in a blue hoodie, is that it makes you feel uncontrollably drowsy. The lady in the black appears to be putting her material in her socks. It is time to move along. This spot here is a common territory that you will find most people hanging out. Each day becomes more challenging. Many people here are struggling to make ends meet. It is impossible to move solely on one's own. To make the day less stressful, one must be in a group. Philadelphia has long been known as the city of brotherly love, a name derived from the ancient Greek terms philos, which means beloved, dear, or loving, and adelphios, which means brotherly. The city was first named by its founder, William Penn. Philadelphia is also frequently abbreviated as Philly. The Liberty Bell, Independence Hall, and the Rocky Statue are all located in Philadelphia. Philadelphia is the poorest of the largest U.S. cities, with 23.3% of residents living in poverty, outnumbering Houston, the next largest poor U.S. city, by 2.9%. The city's non-Hispanic, white, Asian, and mixed race population have seen a slight increase in poverty. Between 2005 and 2019, each group experienced an average annual increase in residential poverty of 1.2, 1.9, and 0.5% respectively. Poverty has decreased slightly among Philadelphia's black population since 2005. While they account for approximately 40.1% of the city's total residential population in 2019, 26.7% of the city's non-Hispanic black population was impoverished at that time. This rate has fallen by 1.2% per year on average since 2005. The 2019 poverty rate for non-Hispanic black residents is still 3.4% higher than the city average and 14% higher than the non-Hispanic white population. A mixture of an abusive past, a lack of someone to turn to in challenging times, and a financial crisis drives people to this way of life. Kensington is a Philadelphia neighborhood with a higher crime rate than the national average. West Kensington, East Kensington, Fair Hill, Port Richmond, and Old Richmond are all part of the Kensington neighborhood. It is well known for its alarming heroin problem, which has earned it the moniker Walmart of heroin. Kensington Avenue is widely regarded as the East Coast's largest outdoor heroin narcotic market. When Kensington was deindustrialized in the 1950s, it transformed from a blue-collar factory neighborhood to a drug-infested city. As the city's financial investment dwindled, the drug market stepped in to fill the economic void. In addition to drug users, Kensington now attracts drug tourists, or people looking for the cheapest and most potent drugs from all over the country. Kensington drugs have wreaked havoc on Philadelphia's residents. Since 1994, the city's drug overdose rate has tripled, tripling the number of homicides and exceeding the number of AIDS-related deaths. Because of the area's drug problem, its crime rate is the third highest in the city at 1.21%. It's not uncommon to see people injecting heroin and nodding off on the sidewalk in the middle of the day in this part of Philadelphia. Despite the passage of time since the beginning of the opioid epidemic, the COVID-19 pandemic has exacerbated the country's drug problems. In 2020, there are expected to be 88,000 reported drug overdose deaths, a 27% increase from the previous year. According to the Kensington Police Department, there are currently over 80 corners with open-air drug markets. In 2020, an estimated 47 people were killed and 231 were shot and injured. Unfortunately, Kensington heroin trade is still thriving. It contributes to the city's high crime rate, which includes gun violence. The year 2020 saw the highest rate of drug and gun violence related deaths in this area since 2015. Despite the mandates and social distancing requirements imposed by COVID-19, drug dealers and addicts continue to congregate on the streets. Due to the pandemic, drug dealers and distributors were also unable to obtain the same quantities of ingredients that they were previously accustomed to using. As a result, less potent heroin with a shorter duration of high has become more popular. This has increased the rate of heroin abuse and purchase. In response to the opioid epidemic and drug problems in Kensington, Philadelphia, nonprofit organizations and government officials are collaborating to develop a plan of action. Those in need of assistance are being provided with safe housing, food, medical care, and employment opportunities. Even if they receive heroin addiction treatment, these people will struggle if they are homeless, isolated, and unable to find food or shelter. Loneliness is a common feeling among the people who live here, and in most cases, it can be beneficial when it comes to surviving throughout the day. The life of the people in Kensington Avenue seems to be getting worse as the day goes by. Meth is a common drug sold on Kensington Avenue. Some of the long-term effects of consuming meth includes permanent damage to blood vessels of heart and brain, high blood pressure leading to heart attacks, strokes, and death, liver, kidney, and lung damage, malnutrition, weight loss, severe tooth decay, depression, and suicide. Because of the side effects of drug use, many people are more likely to feel guilty and ashamed and may contemplate suicide. As we can see, we have a young lady here who is dealing with the side effects of drugs. A loss of balance, which can cause you to bend forward, is one of the most common side effects of drugs. When it appears that no one cares, you must simply make do with what is available for the time being. And that is usually the best strategy. alone, tired, and in despair. A helping hand is definitely needed. But for the time being, it's the best that she can do. First to know at SBC News.